12 long years the Springboks have waited to get a chance to avenge the series defeat of 1997. For a proud sporting nation, that is a long time and something they're desperate to put right. But those wearing the famous red shirts know they have a chance to etch their names in rugby's history books. Come on, here we go then. We're in high definition. Sky Sports HD1, channel 408 this afternoon. South Africa against the British and Irish Lions. Our match commentary comes from Stuart Barnes and Miles Harrison.
And now that we have arrived at this point, you can feel every sporting emotion being fired by these scenes all around us. Four nations come together as one team, on and off the field. That is the Lions. But will this be a winning Lions team?
Well, if they hold their own at the breakdown, they have a chance. If the training ground plot to pincer Fourie du Preez worked, they have a good chance. If Ruan Pienaar is rusty, the Lions win. That is not too many ifs from a Lions fan's perspective.
Well, let's introduce you to the two sides then. First, the ones with national revenge, not just on their minds, but coursing through every vein of their rugby bodies. South Africa.
Tendai Mtawarira, prop.
John Smith, prop. Bismarck du Plessis, hooker.
Bakkies Botha, second row.
Victor Matfield, second row.
Heinrich Broussard, back row.
John Smith, back row.
Piers Spies, back row.
Fourie du Preez, scrum off.
Ruan Pienaar, fly off.
John de Villiers, centre.
Adrian Jacobs, centre.
Brian Abana, wing.
JP Peterson, wing.
Francois Steyn, fullback.
So 7 Sharks start on their home ground, thus outnumbering the Super 14 champions, the Bulls, who have 5. What about the animal that concerns the whole of Britain and Ireland? The Lions.
Gethin Jenkins, prop. Phil Vickery, prop.
Lee Mears, hooker.
Alamin Jones, second row.
Paul O'Connell, second row.
Tom Croft, back row. David Wallace, back row.
Jamie Heaslip, back row.
Mike Phillips, scrum half.
Stephen Jones, fly half.
Jamie Roberts, centre.
Brian O'Driscoll, centre.
Hugo Monnier, wing.
Tommy Bowe, wing.
Lee Byrne, fullback.
And 10 of that team start a Lions test for the first time. On the bench, Donnacha O'Callaghan started the second and third test in New Zealand 4 years ago. Martin Williams and Ronan O'Gara came on in the third. South Africa, well, they select 2 props in reserve. Captain John Smith covers hooker. Their new test man is the Bulls' points machine, Morné Steyn. So what will be going through Lions captain Paul O'Connell's mind here? One of those who was part of the test series on the last tour, but now the leader, following in the footsteps of not just his teammate today and national captain Brian O'Driscoll, but also Martin Johnson and Willie John McBride, the 2 Lions captains who in the last century managed to take their team to a series win on South African soil. and in doing so instantly gained rugby immortality. The Lions of 2009 enter the arena here in Durban, and the enormity of their task starts to hit home more than ever before.
Well, it's not often the big boys, the bruisers in the front row get the headlines, but if the Lions win today, the work at the breakdown of that man, Gethin Jenkins, not just the breakdown, all around the park, and on the other side of the scrum, Phil Vickery, reborn as a prop forward force on this tour. Those two men have so much work to do. It's not just about Wallace, Heaslip and Croft and O'Driscoll at the breakdown. Those props have got to hit ruck after ruck after ruck until they cannot hit another ruck.
Well, South Africa's last full international was in November, but if that seems a long time ago, it pales into insignificance at the side of 12 long years of having to deal with the fallout from a Lions series defeat. And this proud sporting nation has gnashed its teeth, snarled and grumbled, as the Lions are doing now on the sidelines. And whenever the subject of the Lions has come up in the last 12 years, it has hurt so deep, and you can see and hear it now, and it falls to this South African team to put an end to that pain. This is going to be some roar to greet the home side. It takes so much to win a test here, let alone a series. Both sides know 1-0 would, though, be a position of considerable power. John Smith turned to his men after the World Cup and said, "We stay together to finish the job." The Lions are that finish. The job begins now. Here they come.
Wonderful side, isn't it? These South African flags. The Lions' job is to lower them, to make Durban a South African flag-free zone. Adam Jones looks on. Will the Lions be looking out for one man, Ruan Pienaar? John Smith, the captain, but there is the catalyst. Great faith invested in him by coach Peter de Villiers. He's only kicked 9 times at goals in Super 14. He's only succeeded 5 times, and he is at the fulcrum of this battle. Ruan Pienaar, he is the man invested with the future of South African rugby.
We have 2 anthems today, and they both belong to South Africa. The highest honour in British and Irish rugby has now been bestowed on these men. They are in a Lions test. Two mates together, they're all mates. They need to be. The conditions sultry and warm. Durban offers winter days that feel like cup final days back home. And this feels like the ultimate cup final. Bryce Lawrence of New Zealand will be our referee. And what a day for him as he finds himself in a battle between the hemispheres. And if you're a sports fan, rugby fan, you have to be moved by this. And in rugby and sport, the Lions are genuinely unique. How genuine, though, is their challenge? The series that South Africa has waited 12 years for and built towards for the last 2 years since the World Cup final has finally arrived.
Dicko, we're right. Okay, red captain. You serious? Okay.
The home side will kick off. Pienaar switches. And filtered by O'Driscoll, who finds himself on the floor in the first few seconds, like he did 4 years ago, but this time, no need to worry. And what a good reply.
Yeah, just a late shoulder there, nothing too much from John de Villiers. It's almost as if they targeted O'Driscoll, nothing too sinister, but just saying, he's a Lions key man, let's put him on his backside. That's a brilliant kick from the man who has had an amazing year. Brian O'Driscoll has not lost since the middle of January. Can he keep this run going?
Bismarck du Plessis will throw in, the man who was replacement to Smith in the World Cup final when his captain was Hooker. And there's no better line out in World Rugby than this one. Botha and Matfield in the middle. And options are plenty at the base. Up from Fleury de Pria. And referee Lawrence is going to give a penalty here.
Peterson offside. Great news for the line. I mean, that's the South African game plan in a nutshell. You win your line out of Victor Matfield. Fleury de Pria puts the box kick up under pressure, but normally the Boks are very good at keeping their discipline. The wings chase, but that is a clear sign of rustiness. It's the word that South Africa fears, and that's a real mistake there.
And what were we saying this morning? How many of those are missed in World Rugby these days? Not today.
We've just seen now, Fleury de Pria takes his time, he's just about going. The timing is so tight, it's almost like a sprinter coming out of the track there. Peterson starts very deep, but there's just a momentary delay. He's offside, it's tight. But this is a very, very big kick for Jones. It must have been a tight call between him and Ronan O'Gara, because O'Gara's goal kicking has been well nigh impeccable. Jones has kicked well, but he is not a particularly long-range kicker, and this is close to the limit of his range. We are not at altitude here. It's a big kick.
Under pressure, the technique needs to stay strong here from Jones. The nerves have to be put into a compartment. Can he do it? No, he can't. Not the first time anyway. Francois Steyn goes.
Oh, great kick by Steyn. This is the problem for the Lions. Steyn could be exposed positionally at fullback, but if he gets time and ball, he kicks it so far. He's got a colossal boot, and he has, from 5 metres behind his own post, made 65 metres with that kick. I think Ugo Monye, Tommy Bowe must think about keeping this ball alive, because they don't want to play line-outs against this Springbok machine.
Mears throws. It could have been 3-0 now. South Africa have the attacking advantage. John de Villiers pulls it back to Eddie Jacobs. There's Habana, but that's good hands under pressure there. And Steyn involved again with the carry at the end. Fleury de Pria. Ruan Pienaar. There's some space there. Monja needs to get back, and Peterson's going, and Lee Byrne has seen that, and there's a clash of bodies. Jacobs is across. It'll be a scrum, but it was desperate defence from the Lions. Well spotted space from Pienaar.
It all comes from the Lions getting turned over at the very first line out on their ball. It's good play from Pienaar. I just think Monja got a little bit tight there. Lee Byrne has to come and make the check. That ball could have gone anywhere there. But the Lions line out exposed for the very first throw on their ball, and Pienaar spots space superbly.
It's a good start this from South Africa. De Preer again, Pienaar now. De Preer, Smith, back with a scrum half so quickly. Here comes the captain! What a start for the whole of South Africa. John Smith powers over as if to set the standard. And if there were any pre-series jitters, they've not been showing, and they've surely gone for good now.
Smith comes from so deep. Look at the captain there. He's just waited his time and he's come hard. There's nothing the Lions can do. Springbok play wave after wave. He finds the weak shoulder of Jamie Roberts, and Tom Croft has no chance there. The depth was excellent, the recycling was very good, the tackling wasn't bad initially, but Smith, it was just wave after wave, breaking like the Indian Ocean here at Durban. What a start for the world champions.
Pienaar, and for him, there may well have been some nerves on the goal kicking. You talked about his record in the Super 14 and injuries in that competition too. But he gets the perfect kick to start, close to the post, and South Africa have the perfect start in general. They lead by 7 points to 0. Stephen Jones restarts.
And it all comes from a line-out that the Lions lost.
Croft chasing, and that is lost by Francois Steyn, and a knock-on, and that's just what the Lions needed.
The last time Steyn got the ball, he booted the 60. This time, it's a chance for the Lions. John Smith, just look at the line and the patience of his run. That's the key. The Lions don't pick it up. It's really good ball. Here he comes. Wait, bang into the hole. He's deep enough to see where the exposed shoulder is. It's brilliant play from the captain. Now, South Africa, one attack in position, one score. Lions need a quick riposte.
Lions need to show that clinical nature that was in evidence against the Golden Lions, but what a contrast, the environment that night at Ellis Park to what we find here, and also the space that was available then. It's important if they can get the nudge here at the scrum. Vickery, Mears and Jenkins, well, they can't even get down into it.
Well, interesting couple of points on the scrum. Gary Gold, the forwards coach, was saying as Sean Edwards looks on, if the Lions aren't happy with the hit, they always back away and they reset. The other thing that we're all aware, the referee Bryce Lawrence, he believes that most scrum problems come from the loose set, so he'll be looking at the Beast and he'll be looking at Jenkins.
Phillips is coming away, but he was the decoy. It's gone the other side to Jones and O'Driscoll, and here's Monja! Monja! Did he get in? He thinks he did! So that's what they've been holding back. It was promised, but it also has to be checked. Surely it will be.
Christoph, are you there? Yes. We need to check grounding, touch, everything, please. Try or no try.
Lovely decoy work there now. If Monja's got this down, this is one hell of a finish. He's given plenty to do. The ball from O'Driscoll is a beauty. The pressure comes in. Just watch out for the left foot. He's not there yet. I think he gets it down, but I think we need to see another angle. I think John de Villiers then throws it away in despair afterwards. This is the one that tells us.
The arm of de Villiers. The ball is not down there.
You would not look at that and say that is definitely a try. That's a tight call. John de Villiers may have worked a miracle if he stops Monye here.
Well, on that evidence, it's advantage South Africa here.
Great rugby brain from the inside centre. Monye is trying to get it now. I don't think Monye's in touch. It's just clearly a question of the ball. From that angle, you can't see it. It's certainly not down there. Has he got it down at that moment? It's a very big call giving a try when there's so much debate. If that's not a try, that is a wonderful piece of defensive play.
Nice. Yep.
I have a decision.
Thank you.
The ball was not touching goal. The ball was not touching goal.
It's a fair call from Christophe
Scrum
Berdos.
5, red.
Was a touching goal here?
Doesn't touch in goal.
Sorry?
The ball doesn't touch in goal.
Okay, but it's carried in by red.
Yeah, scrum 5, red.
Why scrum 5 red though?
Because the green player played the ball after and go in that deadline.
The green player played the ball here
Yeah.
or in goal?
Yeah, it's a scrum 5, red.
Why though?
Attacking scrum.
What? You need
Attacking
yeah, you need to tell me why it's a scrum 5.
because the green player on the floor played the ball and
In the field of play or in goal?
no, it was in goal.
Okay, it's a 22 then.
Bryce Lawrence knows his laws.
Overrules Christophe Berdos there. Brilliant play from Jean de Villiers. We've seen the captain with the try, but that is a 5 to 7 point save from the inside centre. Hasn't played since April the 18th, but has proved his worth to everyone in this rugby-mad country.
So the worst possible end result when the Lions thought they'd scored. Monye genuinely believed he got that ball down, but of course what he was probably feeling was putting the ball onto de Villiers' arm, and it was one of the great pieces of defensive play that you're going to see. Here's Francois Steyn. And that could bounce anywhere, but it must be a knock-on. It was.
Pierre Spies just tried to say, actually, it was off my head. But I think there's no doubt that came off the shot. A very good high kick from Steyn early on. The South African is off the head, you know.
Stay here, Vinny, in the middle.
And technically, that is not a knock-on.
Stay here in the
And
middle.
Pierre Spies immediately said, no, no, no. Lions get a little bit lucky there.
Well, it's not a knock-on. It's
Hold the ball properly.
again back to the law book.
Touch.
Plain and simple.
Pause. Bingo.
Came off the head. And the Lions totally driven off that. Underdone. Not this Springbok pack.
Raw maybe, but certainly not undercooked. The local crowd, of course, love this front row. It's the Sharks' front row, and the Lions, they're not set and they're driven backwards. Atomised there by the Springboks. A bad start suddenly looks even worse, and that has inspired the South African crowd, let alone the pack.
And that scrum was 12 years of pain. Inflicting pain on the Lions 8. And now Pienaar to increase the lead to 10 after 10.
Well, the way this game has gone in the first 10 minutes, the Lions desperately need Ruan Pienaar to play up to the hoped British and Irish script, which was that he was rusty and he would not kick that well.
Well, the kicking ghosts of '97 have been haunting South Africa rugby ever since. First in Cape Town and then especially here. All those missed kicks. Pienaar. Well, no ghost there.
Well, that's a brutal start from South Africa. They've had 2 visits into the Lions territory and they've come away with 10 points.
Side over there.
Vickery gets a bad position and the beast piles into him there, and that really did lift this ground. It was an explosive roar all around us.
The ground lifted, the Lions front row lifted.
down, scrum.
And Steyn winning the put-in for his side here. It was taken straight away. No mistake that time on the high ball from a man who's just 22. He did become the youngest to win a World Cup in 2007.
Give him your shoulder, head straight.
The injuries have just checked his advance. We still await greatness, and an awful lot of people in World Rugby think the young Steyn is capable of it.
Go behind.
Vickery's come up again there. Pienaar.
A lot of time. He's got a lot of time, hasn't he, Ruan Pienaar? Under pressure from Heaslip. That's a lovely strike again. Another of the local men knows this ground inside out. It's their week in, week out home ground. Here's the scrum again, and there is the pressure, and Phil Vickery is up, and so are the South African fans.
Get him on the mark,
And the beast living up to his name there. Tendai Umtawarira. That was won by Croft. Mears.
No, fine.
Phillips gets back on his feet.
Scrum.
And we'll be relieved to see the referee hold out the arm towards the Lions. And wasn't coming back from there.
Sound technique.
That's not what Lee Mears needs to be doing, darting off the right foot and stepping back into the likes of Bakkies, Botha and company. Lions really do need to keep this ball alive at the moment. You don't feel they're winning the physical battle. They're getting the Lions' share of possession, but it's the 45% the Boks have got they've used so well. Very important scrum, isn't it, now, for the Lions front row, having been humiliated in the last one. They need to just put their own marker down now and stabilise this scrummaging area.
Patience, eh?
Lions all pumped up,
Get up.
trying to hit that scrum as hard as they could. They have to be wary of going in too soon. That will be penalised for the early engage.
Come forward. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
It's better. Phillips to Byrne. Good step from Byrne. Phillips again. Mears, a target there, wasn't he? Did well to just rumble across the gain line somehow. That was David Wallace taking it in. This is Stephen Jones on to Lee Byrne. Out to Tommy Bowe, one of the stars of the tour. Monya too has been scoring tries non-stop, it seems, since we arrived in South Africa. 4 apiece for the wingers. Didn't quite get one at the start of this game, but this is good attacking rugby. And David Wallace is going through here. Phillips. The Lions showing what they can do. Play on, says the referee. Lions thought a penalty was coming. Here's Habana. And now the penalty is given against South Africa at the breakdown.
Well, Gethin Jenkins has just pulled off a spectacular tackle. Ugo Monya was able to stay wide and ignore the threat of that man, Brian Habana, because Gethin Jenkins, look at that from the loose head. It allowed Monya to stay wide, brilliant play, and then the Lions are in over the ball very quickly, and they get an opportunity. And it's an opportunity that has to be taken.
Guys, don't abuse it. Go to the side.
Here's Jones. It's going to be tight again. You can't really say at this stage of the game it was a must-get kick, but it would have made the Lions feel so much better.
I don't know. Against the world champions on their home patch, that's a kick that has to go over. I think Sean Edwards knows that. And Stephen Jones, he cannot afford to miss many more. The Lions will not score that many tries to run away with this game. They've got to chip their way back into this. Every point has to be taken, especially when you're 10 down.
Space in there. Pienaar and Peterson making sure that he stayed onside there. And it's another good kick from Pienaar.
It couldn't have gone worse for the Lions. Another line out lost and another hammer blow from Ruan Pienaar. He's justifying his coach's faith in him. He's playing beautifully. Again, though, Lee Mears goes to the back. Spieth comes in. Gethin Jenkins is waiting there. He picks it up. And look at this from Pienaar. A beautiful kick.
Mears to Captain O'Connell.
Winger's okay.
After 12 minutes in New Zealand of the first test, he was in the sin bin, wasn't he, Paul O'Connell? Another giant kick from Steyn to his opposite number, Lee Byrne. Of course, can kick big himself, but there he's just thinking about getting away from the green line. Here's Bowe. The ferocity of the challengers coming in from the Springboks. Something to behold here. Stephen Jones clears again. He was under pressure.
Out.
Steyn to Byrne.
Outside.
This could be Byrne to Steyn.
No.
Mind games, boot games. Good chase by Joanne Smith.
Lions have a penalty here. Joanne Smith is offside.
Never put onside, straight into the ball. Never onside.
So that's how he got there. Says referee Bryce Lawrence illegally.
Penalty or a scrum where it was kicked.
He's quick, but he's not that quick, is he, Smith?
Penalty or a scrum where it was kicked. Can I have the mark for the kick?
It was very interesting, wasn't it? Lee Byrne is not afraid to counter-attack, and there's been a sense throughout this build-up to the test that the Lions wouldn't play that much rugby in the series from first phase, but in counter-attack they will do it. And it's a dangerous game because, as you were saying, the Boks at the moment are tackling with great ferocity, and from any turnover, the likes of Habana and Peterson and Jacobs, 30 metres out against disorganised defence, it's over. But they've got to be brave, haven't they, to get back into this one.
Crouch.
When Habana tried to engineer that breakout, there was a sense that the Lions stopped, feeling a penalty was coming. They can't afford to do that, and they must get this scrum sorted out. Heinrich Rousseau was a real thorn in the side of the Lions when he played for the Cheetahs earlier on tour. Foy Dupree might be just that here. And he comes clattering to the ground onto his shoulder, and here's a player that the Springboks will not want to lose. Many believe he's currently the best player in world rugby.
Well, even Gethin Jenkins can't get to him, but this is a full-scale sporting disaster zone at the moment. What is happening to the scrum? So much pressure coming through in the South African 8. Jenkins can't get anywhere near Fourie du Preez. He gets an ankle tap, but du Preez, he smells an opportunity, and Croft goes in there with the shoulder, and technically that is undoubtedly a penalty. That's a hit, that is not a tackle.
Did not make any genuine attempt there to use the arms in the tackle.
I just don't think it could have been a worse start for the Lions, you know. The line-out's in trouble, the scrum's in trouble, and the Boks look anything but rusty.
And their potential to get back into the game when they thought they had it with the Monia try after the well-worked move, that disappeared into thin air as well.
6.
Well, 6 is Tom Croft.
Well, the crowd booed immediately when they saw the replay, they knew.
It's close to the touchline, but there's no arms for the tackle made by 6, okay? It's going to be a penalty. Thank you. Just here.
And Vinnie Munro is the assistant on that far side, and you have to presume that is where the call came from.
Shot, please.
It certainly wasn't given initially by referee Bryce Lawrence.
Now we're in the giant boot range. We watched Frans Steyn, didn't we, about 45 minutes ago, warming up from his own 10-metre line. He wasn't getting them, but they were going over the top of the post. He doesn't have a problem with distance, direction. It's the key. He's hit and he can miss, but boy, can he hit a rugby ball.
Percy Montgomery, the kicking coach now with South Africa, made it clear the other day that the long ones would fall to this man. Pienaar from closer range. Well, it was the right decision in the end from the officials, and it was certainly the right kick from Francois Steyn halfway through the first half. And look at that for a lead.
Just about every time South Africa get in Lions territory, they are coming away with point. That is the brutal reality of test match rugby, and at the moment this is a brutal lesson being taught. Matfield and company in the line out, and at restart Schmidt and the beast at the scrums. It's a horrible start for the Lions.
South Africa playing like the world champions that they are.
It's taken back. It's taken back.
They use Steyn every time to take those restarts.
Stay green! No! Yep.
And then use Pienaar.
10 metres red!
Monia after Burns. Up and under. This is going to bounce. And it's Alan Wynne-Jones. Mike Phillips. David Wallace. And they're all up against a class brigade today, a world-class brigade.
All tour, the Lions have loved to go short side after a contact, but this is another level of opponents, and it was an initial good drive from Wallace, but then the speed and reaction of the Springboks. Bismarck du Plessis so strong, Bakkies Botha, who will tackle all afternoon, they're there, and the Lions have to be careful going the same way within 5 metres of the touchline, because the Boks will drive them out and they will take control of the ball.
South Africa cut the line out, and it doesn't work. Paul O'Connell for the Lions. Phillips, call from Tommy Bow on this side for the crossfield kick. Stephen Jones had no time to get that in. Here's Jamie Roberts, and he's through again. Brian O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll cutting back inside. He's got Tom Croft there. It's going to be this time. That ball is down, and it's a try to lift 4 nations and 1 team.
They couldn't wait any longer, the Lions. Tom Croft, he uses his speed in support, but it's the Roberts-O'Driscoll axis. It's been the Lions' most potent attacking weapon, and once again, the Welshman drives into the heart. It's a lovely offload. O'Driscoll reads it well. He backs himself. It's a superb offload as the tackle comes in from Peterson. Roberts and O'Driscoll, the Lions' ace, the Lions' trump, combined brilliantly. O'Driscoll knows Habana's got the pace and the marking. Croft saunters up there, and nothing Frans Steyn can do there. The Lions back in the game.
Jones converts, and as soon as you saw it in the hands of Brian O'Driscoll, you sort of knew that it would not be wasted, that the chance would be taken. Roberts busting through like he's done so well on this tour, and then O'Driscoll so aware of what is on around him always, and this is a strong finish from Tom Croft.
Well, in the first game of tour, Roberts was making those breaks and no one was on his shoulder, and that's the difference. O'Driscoll read it, Croft finishes, and the Lions, having been hammered in many ways, are back in the game. But what they have done in the first 25, they've made 3 clear line breaks. They're getting behind the box.
Yeah, got it, got it.
Byrne and Steyn are at it again, and Frans Steyn is at it again. He cannot resist a drop goal. It seems wherever the ball is on the field.
12! Stay here. Yep.
Burns trying to get it long again. Here's JP Peterson. Ugo Monia calls for the mark. Pienaar's dropped that.
That's a wonderful 2 minutes for Lions fans, because Pienaar's done nothing wrong and he's just made a little error, and the Lions, more importantly, have scored. Now, Robert, he's the man attached to the red area. He attacks his own, but what O'Driscoll's done throughout his career, he loves to wait and then come late, and he finds that hole, and defenders can't pick it up. There he comes. His man that's meant to be marking him is just watching space. O'Driscoll picks in. He has an awareness of where support is, and Tom Croft, he knows, like a good flanker, exactly where to be. Croft's pace, a real virtue there.
Indeed it was. He had to bust a gut to get there, but he did. And so he should. He's in that Lions jersey, and the Lions simply had to score that time. They knew it, and now we have a test match.
I must say, I mean, if you're French or a New Zealander...
Okay, you get it right, please. Hit straight.
Or an Australian watching this, you'll be loving it. I mean, there's some great play from South Africa, but the Lions' attacking capacity, as I said, it's finding holes in the Springboks, and that is the great news for them. Good attacking position again.
Stay.
Heaslip, Phillips, Roberts, and then O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll's gone on the outside! Bow's outside, but the whistle has gone.
Lee Byrne.
Crossing, says the referee, Bryce Lawrence. Oh, some moves coming out the draw here.
Yeah, they are. Lee Byrne's timing not quite right, though, and Bryce Lawrence absolutely right there. But the Lions, they're trying to use the decoys, and they're trying to release the great man, O'Driscoll. And oh, there's an awful lot of fans in red. Thought for just a second the Lions had a second try. I'm sure we'll see it now.
The South African defence was drawn to Roberts, and understandably. We'll come back to the reason why the try was disallowed, but the action keeps on coming. Who's going to claim this one? Nobody. Steyn was uninterrupted in his climb for the ball. Du Preez, Jacobs. Penalty.
Never release the ball. All over him. Stand up first, then pick it up. Straight off your feet.
Neither the tackler nor the first man in there, Paul O'Connell. He's the one penalised.
Well, the ruck was formed, wasn't it? I mean, the new instruction from the IRB to the referees is to allow the man that arrives, having made the tackle, if he's on his feet, he can play it, and the next man in as well, as long as he's on his feet. It was always thus in the law book, but they just want to see that carried through. But as soon as that ruck is formed, if the player is then off his feet and preventing release back on the attacking side, then it will be penalised, and it has been here.
It's been a persistent problem with the Lions, hasn't it? Even in the warm-up games. Let's face it, after this first 25 minutes, we now know that's exactly what they are. This is the real thing.
This is Steyn again. Trying to live up to the expectation of every generation in the South African nation. But not that time. He does sacrifice accuracy for that length.
Oh, he just blasts it, doesn't he? I mean, he's like John Daly. On a good day, he's going 400 metres, but on a bad day, he's in the woods, he's all over the place. Unfortunately for the Lions, he's 50-50 at the moment, which from that range isn't a bad return.
Here's this bundle of muscle, really packs a punch, Eddie Jacobs. Pienaar to Jean de Villiers, and de Villiers nearly hauled that one in. It would have been an excellent piece of skill, but nearly is not good enough. Knock on.
Let's go back to the O'Driscoll break when the crowd were going, man. How does O'Driscoll get on the wide outside? The man circled is Lee Byrne, and watch the line he takes there and see the impact on it. Byrne goes in front, so it's an obstruction. He takes two men out. He does it brilliantly. It's a running try for the Lions. I mean, technically, it is superb, but it's just a little bit too unsubtle there. But threats, ideas and dangers all over in attack. It's just this scrum and line out, and South Africa's ability to just create these power waves of attack.
And also South Africa's ruthless ability to take the points every time that they're inside the opposition 22. Okay, you get the long range kicks from Steyn. To say they're 50-50, they're worth a go, especially given the nature of Test match rugby and how close this promised to be, and it's starting to be again after that 13-0 start for South Africa. Mike Phillips didn't really put enough into that to get it downfield. Now it's Bakkies-Botha and Steyn to Jacobs now. De Villiers does take that one in. Lee Byrne, but it will be counter-attack ball for the Springboks. Ruben Pienaar and Tommy Bowe.
Leave it green. 13.
Phillips. Stephen Jones.
That's not a great kick. Straight into Steyn.
Keep saying that, don't we? Steyn. Jean de Villiers loves a gallop, and he's very strong in the challenge. Nat Field was there, Dupree as well. That's good tackling from the Lions. As Dupree was scythed down there.
Well done, Alan Wynne-Jones. He skagged Pienaar about Dupree 5 minutes ago. He's hit him again.
And Croft too. Croft heavily involved in that. In fact, I think it was Croft initially.
And they're the hits that the Lions are going to have to keep making.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Oh, straight to a penalty as the scrum doesn't stay up.
Phil Vickery's the man who's having some problems. He certainly is in the interpretation of Bryce Lawrence. It's a field day for the Beast in the set piece. Vickery, with all that experience, shakes his head. He's got to work his way out of this at the moment.
Shot, please, guys.
Otherwise, Adam Jones, who's had a very good tour and a very fine season, will have to be introduced.
Vickery doesn't agree clearly, but it's a dangerous game, isn't it, when that head goes lower than the hips. But sometimes you see them reset.
There's no precision in the scrum. Esoteric art that it is, and much as we all love it, there's always a degree of give and take when referees call scrums. Always.
And what's happened here is that Pienaar has been given a gilt-edged chance for 3 points. A reasonable distance out, but nothing that should trouble him. And as you can see, nice and central for the kicker. Should be 3, and is. Maybe it's a penalty that reflects South Africa dominance in the scrum pretty well through this first half. There have been a couple of occasions when the Lions have held steady.
Yeah, but big scrums from South Africa rewards that, and a line-out that's put the Lions under a lot of pressure. It's the set piece at the moment that's putting the box in a command position.
Dupree's turn this time to take the kick off, and then the home cry from the Sharks fans, from all South African fans in these colours as well, of the Beast. Monia went into a forest of bodies but didn't emerge with the ball. Pienaar pushing Lee Byrne around. JP Peterson. Strong run from the winger, who had a brilliant World Cup. Matfield's in there again. Good hands from him. Bowe will get another go, but not for long because Haban is on him. Another penalty. Holding on, says Bryce Lawrence. Mistake from the initial catch. Cost the Lions dear there.
The squeeze coming from Ruben Pienaar is spectacular. Again, his kicking game is not giving Lee Byrne any room, and it all came. He fired a ball straight down the 5-metre channel.
Struggling to hold it up. There's been 2 penalties.
We'll just come back to that as Paul O'Connell is lectured. Ruben Pienaar is just putting the Lions back 3 in positions they don't want to be. And then it comes the bad kick, and that enables Peterson to put the pace on And from there, the Lions are always going backwards. The squeeze gets better. It becomes a penalty from a Bok perspective. All came from that man kicking now, Ruan Pienaar, though, pressing the Lions into areas where they don't want to play and forcing bad kicks back.
So what about Pienaar's precision from here? This starts to make it look like a very uncomfortable lead as far as the Lions are concerned. 3 points here as we approach half-time. Could make a big difference in this match. And Pienaar does it for South Africa again. His father was a winner in the 1980 series. Kwesi Pienaar, fullback against the Lions. Just in case you want some more, says Bismarck du Plessis to Brian O'Driscoll.
Sort of sign, isn't it? The Bok's on top at the moment. Pienaar has had a fabulous game, and now de Villiers is off.
Jean de Villiers inside, he was looking for Habana, he would have got the call. Bakis Botha was the man to take it on for de Preer. So many up and unders in this first half. Lee Byrne, Stephen Jones to David Wallace, Brian O'Driscoll to Jamie Roberts. The Lions run out of attackers in space, so it's back to Steyn, and that's what he does, and we're seeing it time and time again.
The difference is South Africa's kicking game is putting the Lions exceptional kicking fullback Lee Byrne in areas where he can't dominate. When the Lions are kicking, they're giving that young man a little bit more space, a little bit more time by and large, and with the size of that boot, the one thing you've got to do is squeeze time, because he kicks it so far when he's got all the time he wants, and he's having a fine game.
Phillips, Jones, Roberts again. And Brian O'Driscoll's dropped it now. Totally out of character from O'Driscoll. And it's turnover ball for de Preer, and there will be men out wide here. Jacobs shipping it on, was that a little bit forward, officials let it go. Here's Peterson. Stephen Jones.
Oh, sorry.
And now the apology from the referee, because Jones was away there after the knock-on from South Africa. No advantage played. He was still in field. I thought the pass out to Peterson might have been a bit forward anyway. That was certainly knocked on by O'Driscoll, and that created the issue.
Well, it's good to hear manners from a referee, but frankly, those are mistakes that can't be made. And from the Lions' perspective, they need everything going their way. That was clever play from Peterson, though. Rob Kearney coming on, and it's Lee Byrne outstanding on this tour, hobbling off. It's one big left foot for another. It shouldn't change the shape of the Lions game, but Lee Byrne does have perhaps a little bit more pace. Here we can see the front row and the heat coming on, and the penalties going against the Lions. One-way traffic.
Straight. Crouch.
And now we're back live with
Touch, pause, engage.
the real-time scrum, and the real lesson is being handed out here by South Africa, and Bryce Lawrence looks like he's going to have no more here.
He's falling into the tunnel. That's 3. You're leaving me very little option soon.
Final warning time.
10 metres. Talk to me if you want to, but make it half-time. Thank you.
This is very frustrating for the Lions, and it's devastating as well. If this kick goes over from Pienaar with Byrne off there, 22-7, that is some mountain. Forget Table Mountain, we're in Durban and it's a big old one. Can't hold the binding, that's the call. There is a hint there that the beast, you wouldn't say he's absolutely straight there, would you? And Vickery will probably say that's what's making it so hard for me.
The law says that you have to bind on your opposing prop by gripping the jersey on the back or the side, not the chest, the arm, sleeve or collar. And if you lose that binding totally, then it's going to be a penalty. And the irony here for the Lions is that the scrum has been such a positive in every game on tour in the first 6 matches and beaten all of those games. But this match number 7 was always going to be the defining game of the tour. Pienaar from the other side, and thankfully for the Lions, that one is not successful. We're hearing the injury for Lee Byrne. It's a flare-up of a heel problem. That's why he's gone off, and Rob Kearney has come on. But as you were saying, it's like for like, similar sort of player.
Too easy for Matfield there, too easy.
Du Preez. There's the Beast going to have a run or a pass. He's going to leave it for Peterson. And your assessment of that first half?
Well, the Lions have done some good things going forward, but the scrum is a massive concern. The line-out hasn't been great, and South Africa's ability to take everything on offer has been quite spectacular. It is a lesson in how you become world champions. Clinical from South Africa, no sign of rustiness, all to do for the Lions.
Well, we've seen the might of Springbok rugby, certainly at the start of the match when John Smith went over, their captain. Monyu was close, there was crossing in midfield on another occasion. That excellent try was scored by Croft, but the Lions are going to need more, much more, in the second half.
Hey lads, we've got a big game tomorrow.
So get your heads down, okay?
The break in Durban, the world champions showing their class in that first half. Defensively, though, there are signs of encouragement for the Lions if they can be more clinical in the set piece. 19-7 box. Let's go pitch side with Dowie Morris. He's with Graham Simmons.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. It's times like that when you watch a grim first half that you hope somewhere in Ian McGeechan's briefcase, Dowie, there is a folder marked Plan B. Will you be reaching for it now?
I hope there is going to be a plan B, because I think Paul O'Connell and the Lions sort of assistant coaches, the coaches, management, whatever, with the biggest 40 minutes of their lives, I think they're going to rip up this game plan, or plan B, like you said. Basically play off the hoof rugby. Play what's in front of you. I think the Springboks are a little bit rusty in the midfield. Every opportunity we're going to have, get that ball into the midfield, get the ball into Robertson's hands, get a Driscoll making a line off him, and don't slow the ball up going down the blind side. That just gives the Springboks time to set up the defensive line.
Tempo's obviously key here, Dowie.
Yeah.
How key as well as the captain, Paul O'Connell? What has he got to do with this team?
Well, he's going to sort things out. The line-out, which we thought was a strength, well, going into this game, it was going to be hard against Matfield and Botha. That's gone to pieces. The scrum, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jones coming on here. You've got to get your platform. Against these guys, they've got a massive bench, the Springboks. They're just over there trying to... They'll be coming on. We've got to shore up this game straight away, and that happens with the forwards. It happens with the line-outs, happens with the scrums, and it's up then to the midfield, like I said, to play rugby football.
And if you can put your mind into the Springbok dressing room as well, how pleased do you think they will be, and what will they be thinking right now?
I think, well, I had a chat with Gary Gold, the assistant coach, London Irish guy, you know him well, and this undercooked thing kept coming up, He said, well, look, we've been battering against the emerging Springboks for 25 minutes on, 25 minutes off. They're not undercooked, mate.
They're not undercooked, are they, Dowie? Stuart, Miles, back up to you in the front row of the circle. Where are you? There you are.
Thanks, Graham. 13th series between South Africa and the British and Irish Lions. The first test winner has gone on to take the series 9 times out of the previous 12 series. So it is very important to win this first game. Everybody knows it. The Lions will move to the high veld, to Pretoria, Loftus Versfeld, and that bear pit of an atmosphere, and then Ellis Park for the third test at Johannesburg. So it is a vital 40 minutes. Nothing's lost with certainty if the Lions go down today, but it would be very, very difficult to come back, wouldn't it, Stuart?
Well, more so than usual, because you could argue the Blue Bulls are probably the best provincial team in the world, and 5 of their men are key members of this Springbok team. It will be far more hostile in Pretoria than it is here in Durban. It'll be altitude, it'll be threatening, and if the Boks win this, they'll go into it on a high with any shred of rust gone forever.
Stephen Jones with the kick-off to this second half. And that was Jamie Roberts who followed up the kick-off very well indeed there. Paul O'Connell. Can the Lions have the kind of start to this second period that the South Africans had to the first half?
Stay there, I'm right.
I mean, the back players look full of invention, full of ideas that we haven't really seen on this tour so far. Kept quiet for the Test series. Nearly created more than the one try, but this has to stop. Line out, scrum, breakdown. They have to have a platform from which to launch those attacks.
Well, all too often in this series we have heard that persistent whistle at the breakdown, and with the scrum and line out creaking at the moment, they've just got to get this breakdown absolutely right. Pienaar, they could also do with getting to him at the moment. It's interesting, isn't it, Phil Vickery? It hasn't been easy for him because of the pressures coming on and him having such a long back and being tall, and you just wonder, if they are going to get a player like Adam Jones on, why do they wait? You know, it's no good making the right decision at the wrong time because the game has gone. Bravery might be required from the management.
Bacchus Bode comes to the front of the line out then. Young Heinrich Brousseau, the 22-year-old in this Springbok side, but with interference there. And Vickery gets a little pat on the head for his work there, and du Plessis concedes the penalty, and a chance for Stephen Jones to create this position from which the Lions just might be able to do something special at the start of the second half.
I love the clarity of the call of Bryce Lawrence. Leave his head. And I don't think you can argue with that on the evidence of the replay. Vickery making a nuisance of himself. Du Plessis says enough of that, penalty.
Mears, it was down the middle, but that's a fair contest as far as Matt Field is concerned. It's more South African ball at the line out, and it's replacement Rob Kearney, who stays cool there. And that's a pretty long kick from Kearney.
That's a fantastic kick from Rob Kearney, because let me tell you, there was nothing wrong with the quality of Ruan Pienaar's positional kick, and there's nothing wrong with the spring heels of Victor Matfield. Tom Croft left for dead by the master. But that was brilliant from Kearney. He found touch, and that stopped South Africa just sending those waves back of those big kicks.
They've already joined.
Those numbers have to be even now at the line out, having flirted with the ELV. Spies yet to really see his pace in the loose. Pierre Spies used to be a winger with the South African under-19 side. His dad used to be a winger for Northern Transvaal. You can see him in the loose here because the rolling maul is back, and South Africa are rolling it well. He's got to stay attached though, Brousseau. As he does.
It's a fantastic technical piece of forward play.
And the referee's happy to give a penalty, but not until South Africa have stopped, and they're not going to stop, it seems.
Well, this is fully fledged humiliation against the Lions pack. That's 20 metres plus.
Well, South Africa may be disappointed with the referee walking back to the place of the infringement. Forwards felt that they earned a little bit more than that. Look at this, look how far they went.
Brilliant technique. The captain in on the side, first of all, Paul O'Connell. He gets a shunt there from Juan Smith saying get back. There's also a shunt that just reminds the referee he's in at the side, and South Africa don't look for the erratic boot of Steyn, they look for the corner via the boot of Pienaar. Problems for Paul O'Connell, all sorts of problems. Psychologically, that was one to the solar plexus.
Yes, the Lions are being roughed up here, and the change is now being made. Adam Jones is coming on for Phil Vickery.
Right idea, just got to make a harder target for the beast. What Paul said at half-time, absolutely spot on. Sometimes the shorter man just changes the whole thing. Of course, Paul Wallace and Tom Smith, the heroes in '97, just for that reason. Don't give a target.
The target at the line out again is Matfield. And Brosseau controls another advantage. It's just a flood of penalties here for South Africa.
You were next time you're going to the bin. 10 metres.
Well, this is just a softening up process here. South Africa have decided via the banker material of Matfield, they're just going to drive the lines. And the other thing they're doing, they will be working the legs. And look at this for decision making now. This is a team who think they're going for the jugular.
This is the moment, this is the time in the match, even at this stage of the second half, that South Africa have decided it's time, as you say, to go for the jugular, press the button for victory. The Lions are being pummeled up front, and if it comes again now from this range,
17 out!
if they drive over now, then this place will go wild. The backs have joined in, the whole nation has joined in. The smell of revenge has been wafting around this stadium all day. And quite frankly, it will be in the Praetorian air next week too. Brosseau, in just his second appearance for South Africa, his first start, gets his first try. And that was a rolling maul which started way back in the South African half, really.
Well,
it just found the referee interjecting at various points.
Started 60 metres from the line. First penalty was 15 metres on. They went to the corner once, they got another penalty. They didn't go for 3 points. They went to the corner again, and the Lions simply had nothing to do. And it's not just 5 or 7 points. That is an absolute drubbing of the Lions' spirits. The key word now for the men in red is character. They've been tight-knit, they've been close together. Now the pressure is on. Now they have to really play for each other, because technically they're being brutalised by the Springbok pack.
And now Pienaar has his kick, and he has his points as well. The dominance is almost complete here. The Lions still have that shred of hope when they get the ball in the backs. They create, they look dangerous, but South Africa also know that they're not going to let them get the ball.
Now, well, Victor Matfield is just too good in the air, and that's the problem. South Africa now are winning all these balls. Botha gets that one, and they've got Steyn and Pienaar. They'll just drill it deep.
Stay forwards! Yep.
Carney. Same off Steyn to Phillips. He's bundled out by JP Peterson. Du Preez. Carney with the tackle. Seemed to lose control of that. And no advantage coming, so we go back.
I think it's fair to say if the Lions are going to get back into this game, they need a try from this scrum. It's these positions they've done very well. Frans Steyn can't command that ball. Mike Phillips looking for space, but Peterson, as he so often does, if he can't get his man, he always take him into touch to just kill the move.
Guys, can we just step
The
forward?
great and the good of South African rugby there watching on.
Thank you. Very observant.
South Africa now possibly eyeing their highest ever score against the Lions, which occurred the last time they played in the third test in 1997. Now here's O'Driscoll, he's eyeing something else, the try line. Once again, it's that slashing break through the middle. Roberts was with him, advantage being played for the penalty offence. Danger again when the Lions have the ball. Jones. Phillips. Here's Heaslip. Helped on by Jenkins and others. Phillips. Here's David Wallace.
Out 6!
Rousseau's in the way. Phillips pushes him out the way. Mike Phillips, can he make this? It's going to be tight again.
Thank you.
And the Lions need these calls to go for them. They really do.
Get back.
Well, Phillips is so strong, short range. We said they needed a score immediately.
Timo, please.
We'll now see whether they've
Are you
got
there,
it.
Christoph?
Yes, Bryce.
Can you check for me try or lost forward, please? In the act of scoring.
Does the Osprey get there? Lunges for the line. He's held first of all. There's the lunge, and he's lost that ball. Bakis Botha just thinks, is it a lost cause? No, I'll just see if I can do anything to help. And he does. Watch now, Botha just comes in, and Bakis Botha's hand is there, you know, it's the left hand, dislodges it.
Well, he does dislodge it, and then down goes Lee Mears. So was it Botha that enabled Mears to score?
I think it's coming first of all off the hand of Phillips. Now let's watch this. Phillips he's about to go for the line. Bakis Botha never gives up, never sees anything as a lost cause. Phillips now gets ready for the lunge. Botha's hand comes in there, but it's lost before.
Christoph, are you there?
You cannot give that. That is not a try.
Christoph, are you there? Okay.
Precision.
Okay.
So forward. Forward.
Lost forward?
Yes.
Scrum 5, green ball.
Yes.
Harmony between the officials this time.
Christoph Burdos, that time not incurring the wrath of Bryce Lawrence, the referee. You'll remember in the first half the nature of the restart of the game. Thought a little friction between the two officials. Lee Mears, well, his final act was nearly to score, but nearly not good enough. Matthew Rees is on to replace him. It was a better scrummage.
Oh, what a piece of driving play from Spies.
Yeah, it was powerful from Pierre Spies, and that's a lovely service there to Pienaar, just where he wanted it, to create the angle for the clearance. And what a clearance it was as well.
Just textbook rugby, that, nothing flash. It's a good scrum from the Lions. The dynamic driving pace of the number 8, cleared to Pienaar and 45 metres. I mean, that's a good scrum from the Lions, but look at Spies there. He gets past Wallace, that's the key. It's just a metre, but that metre is all important because it puts the men in green on the front foot.
Rees better at the line out there with Wallace rising high. Stephen Jones. Phillips. Rees and Croft. Phillips again. This is Heasley. O'Connell trying to get there. Alan Wynne-Jones too. Phillips to the blind side to Rob Kearney. Phillips and Jones, and now Wallace and O'Driscoll. He's trying to push it back on the floor, but he's being robbed here. Fourie du Preez. Well, covered by Kearney. And the referee's given the penalty for holding on.
In the game Tuesday, once or twice Lions players got isolated, and the net result was that they were forced to hold it and then play it, and that happened with O'Driscoll there. The Lions have got to put more men more quickly into the breakdown.
And it doesn't get any easier at the breakdown with that man coming on. So versatile, Danny Rousseau, and so unlucky not to be a regular international starter. And he replaces Brousseau, who's a try scorer.
Well, that's a very interesting call, because Brousseau is an out-and-out fetcher along the ground. Rousseau is anything but that. But South Africa have an edge on power, and what they've done is replaced the smallest man in their pack with one of the biggest back rows on the planet, and that just means there's even more oomph coming through these drives, through the scrums, through these rolling mauls. It is going to get pretty hard for the Lions.
This is Rousseau's 37th cap. 19 as a flanker, 10 as a number 8, 7 as a second row before today. So that shows how versatile he is. Shows what a big bloke he is as well. He's a different type of player to the smaller Heinrich Brousseau. There's a penalty. This time it's South Africa's turn to hold on and prevent the Lions from getting their hands or feet on it at the ruck.
Some credit here to the Lions effect. Paul O'Connell, now that time he is the first man in there. He does the job, seals it off legally, and South Africa give the penalty away.
And he stayed on his feet, that was the key thing. Played some rugby in the last 5 minutes, the Lions. Need some points to show for it, though. Connell to Phillips, who so nearly scored. O'Driscoll. Jenkins. Good play by O'Driscoll again.
Here it is.
He's the constant threat, isn't he?
Jones. O'Connell. Phillips. Tommy Bowe, haven't really seen him as much as the Lions would have wanted to. Jenkins. And held up there, you can see the power of Spies. Jenkins sets it back. Here's O'Driscoll and Roberts. Nice switch between the two centres. Monya in support. Picked up by Phillips, given to Matthew Rees. Try here, and there might be some daylight. Might be.
O'Driscoll and Roberts have combined very well in adverse conditions, you know.
Phillips to Jones. Monya. Good handoff from Monya on Smith. Now it's Carney. Carney had Bowe outside. Chose not to use him. Gethin Jenkins to Mike Phillips. Stephen Jones. Matthew Rees. Adam Jones just bridges there, the replacement. Here comes Tommy Bowe. Tommy Bowe bounces off the tackle. Jenkins was trying to get there. Referee's going to give a penalty, I think, or is it just the knock-on? Knock-on. And Brian Habana has taken exception to something.
Almost a moment there, wasn't it, Tommy Bowe? We talked about how well the centres have gone, but Bowe is very strong, and he's through Johan Smith, and that's some play there. And the knock-on from the South African, you see Gethin Jenkins, who's still charging around the park, and there you can see Rees and Habana, who's a pretty mild guy most of the time. He was furious there.
So where it made contact.
Yes.
Saw the arm go forward.
Okay, have you got a mark?
I've got just in where number 6 is, just in that spot there.
Intervention from Stuart Dickinson, the very
16.
experienced official.
16.
It's Rees. It's Habana's
16.
anger.
Once again, no debate. Touch judge flagging. You've punched someone on the ground. It's a penalty. Punching. Foul play.
Well, it's got to that point where you start to feel it's just not going to be the Lions' day in whatever aspect, but that seems to have been self-inflicted. Let's see, in comes Rees.
Yeah, well, he has thrown one there, hasn't he? There, you could say there's not a great deal in that, but it's a punch thrown by a man standing on someone who's prone, and that's a penalty, and that's just poor discipline. Poor discipline.
And it adds to the list of ones that got away for the Lions today. Here's de Preer, Pienaar. Phillips. That's excellent from a very difficult angle.
They got that wrong, South Africa. Pienaar came up and they just gave the old Dan Carter reverse kick. But Brian Habana had come off his left wing and was standing outside him. So when the kick came in, there was nothing there. Becker and Kankowski, it doesn't get any easier. Two youngsters who have huge futures about to come on.
And Jacques Fourie about to come on. And Becker.
Did I say Kankowski there? Why did I say that? Because I'm in Durban. Fourie, who's an outstanding player and a centre.
Who looks a bit like Kankowski.
Does he?
Here's Duplessis. He's the latest player to be in control at the base of the maul, taking over from the substituted Brosseau. A banner coming through, and if he'd have taken that, he could have gone straight through, but that was sterling defence. It really was. Carney.
Again, good South African play though. Fourie du Preez just keeping it very simple there. Box kick, Habana uses his pace to chase, as we see. Becker and Fourie, look at the quality of that kick. And Habana, he's come very hard at that. That's a fine catch from Carney under immense pressure.
Here comes Becker, replacement in all 3 autumn internationals at the end of 2008. A very reliable squad man, and Jacques Fourie comes on for Jean de Villiers. He's been out for a while with injury. 2 months, in fact, 18th of April. Though he did play, didn't he, in the warm-up game against Namibia. And Fourie is a fine player. Well, he really is. He has a great try-scoring ratio and a lot more to his game besides.
Great support player. He runs very hard close to the forwards. A very dangerous man in field.
Talking of which, so is Jamie Roberts. And there's a man who's not giving up. Phillips. Jones. Croft trying to show his pace through the middle. Can he get it to Jones? No, he can't. Just went to ground. The pass would have been on. Phillips. And Wyn Jones is held up. Trying to get the ball back to his colleagues.
Here it is, leave it, leave it!
Again, Bismarck du Plessis sorts out the fringe. What about Monyu? As he sorted out there? There's looks to the referee as he collided with Jacobs, but it's waved on, and Steyn. Carney. Loose ball might work here. No, that's adjudged to have gone forward. Well, the initial knock-on, at least, came from the Lions.
Good high ball. Lions gave themselves a chance. They haven't won that many of them. This is a lovely play from Bryan Habana. Just pulls Tommy Bowe wide to make space for Frans Steyn, and then, as he's done for much of this day, it's a pinpoint kick to the 22. But the Lions kicking back a little bit better this second half.
Green ball. Yeah, just wait. Just wait. Green ball.
And this game can be a very complicated one to analyse, can't it? But today, I think it smacks you right between the eyes. If it is going to be a South Africa win, where it has been won, exactly which areas, and where the Lions could have won it had they had the same kind of ball.
Power and precision up front, and sheer accuracy.
du Preez with the quick one. Rousseau.
Stay there.
Smith. du Preez. Pienaar. Just threads that through towards the corner. What a kick again. In a pretty majestic performance from Ruan Pienaar. It really has.
Well, his coach called him the Tiger Woods of rugby, and I think that's a little bit premature, but this has been a high-class performance. This really has. It's been nerveless when you consider how little rugby he has played this summer. He's had so much time, but one of the things we haven't said is Packer put him on the front foot, and the Lions haven't been able to get anywhere near him. Somebody needed to ruffle his feathers, and he hasn't, and he's striding around like a peacock.
Rees and O'Connell combined there, as they had to, just short of the Lions line. Phillips not risking the pass. It's about how close Monyu can get to Peterson. Well, not too close. Peterson is away, but not from the chasing centres, Roberts and O'Driscoll.
Great work by the centres.
They've had excellent games, both of them. Phillips, Jones. Here comes Wallace from deep to find Carney. Now it's Bowe. Tommy Bowe. No. Andries Becker. And Habana's involved again, but Bowe thinks he's got a case, and then a little push by Becker at Bowe.
So again, Springbok defence, very athletic, very quick, getting across there. Tommy Bowe so good for so much of this tour, just can't find the space. And flat ball Becker, he's a real athlete. And then Habana goes just to make sure. And Tommy Bow throws a ball away, I'd say more in anger than anything else. He's fired up, Brian, maybe because he hasn't got a try. Now the Lions, 20 minutes to go. Stephen Jones has to go for something very near the corner here. And the Lions have to use, well, will they use their best midfield moves, or will they think this one's done? Let's keep something in the locker for the second game in Pretoria. Now you can't think like that. You've got to believe.
Got to believe. And still doing the maths. Trying conversion here. Just over 18 minutes to go of the 80.
It's happened.
It has happened. And there's Heaslip to try and make it happen. O'Connell just got to nail the finish here.
Stay one.
And not be 1 metre short or just dropping the ball over the line. Wallace. Jenkins throws himself in. Monya's come this side, but he's covered now, so Phillips goes right. Alan Wynne-Jones. Mike Phillips thought he was going to play that. Referee is going to give a penalty as Phillips was prevented from playing it. Got to go for the try here, Jones.
Still advantage.
Slowed right down, and they find the momentum. Croft is just trying to hang on to the ball. Phillips, O'Driscoll, Habana comes in, he's not that on, now we'll get the penalty.
O'Driscoll knew that it was a pass to nothing. The arm was still up there, Bryce Lawrence said that. It hasn't been easy for the Lions scrummaging, but they really do need possibly to just set a scrum here, because they've got to take these Springbok forwards in. They're very athletic and they've defended it supremely well. You're seeing that with Bakis Botha going off and Becker covering the ground like a giraffe. I mean, Lions have to tighten them up here. O'Driscoll Bow.
Nearly 50,000 in the stadium to watch this. It's been an incredible noise from the moment when the teams ran onto the field. It's also been an incredible task for the Lions. And then look at those two to come on in the front row. But first, this scrum, will it lead to a try? Stephen Jones to Jamie Roberts, who again gives it everything on the charge. Phillips to Rees. Now it's out with O'Connell. Two or three South Africans there to make the tackle. Stephen Jones to Brian O'Driscoll. Tries to sneak the chip in for Tommy Bow, and he nearly took it. Oh, that word nearly, you're getting fed up with it.
Again, O'Driscoll saw the space, but I don't think he wanted to kick. South Africa's press in defence forced it on it. And I must say, if Tommy Bow catches that, you'd bank your money on Steyn ushering him into touch.
And it's a double change in the South African front row with Guthro Steenkamp and Dion Carstens coming on. And that means the Beast and John Smith will go off. Victor Matfield still out there, of course, as vice-captain. He becomes captain. And Morné Steyn is coming on as well to win his first cap for Rohan Pienaar. Steyn of the Bulls, Super 14 finally, scored 19 points. Top scorer in the Super 14 season and in the Currie Cup last season. He's earned his place.
He has, and Pienaar will earn the applause of the home crowd. Sporting a little bit of a cut above his right eye. He's played beautifully today.
Wallace has his man as Spies tries to bring this one away again. Du Preez, well, that's an introduction into international rugby for Steyn, and he found Habana. And stayed as cool as you like. Here's Carney. Monya. Monya still travelling there. He's got the ball to Jones. That was brilliant from Jones to Roberts to keep that ball alive. But the ball gets back on the South African side. How did it get there? Well, the referee didn't like it. Phillips to Jones. It's another kick to nothing with the penalty already in the bag. Croft is taller, but not quicker than Habana, and Habana was there.
Well, South Africa now, with the score at 26-7, they're quite happy if they feel the Lions are in a really dangerous attacking position to just concede the penalty, because the Lions can't go for 3 points. They can't chip their way back into this first test. They have to go for broke every time, so a penalty does them no harm at all. And in these situations, you often think referees should go to yellow cards, because the team that's winning have a license, really, when they've got a margin, just to close the game down, as Martin Williams comes on to try and introduce a little bit of Welsh magic
to open the game up.
Yeah.
This is turning into quite a strong spell for the Lions. I know the points aren't there to reflect it, but maybe clutching at straws, but thinking about next week, something to build on if it is to be a defeat, which it is increasingly looking like.
To counter that as well, one has to say South Africa think they've got this game in the bag, and I think there has been a withdrawal. You've got to counter, work out the balance of it.
Another penalty. You wonder when the referee is going to consider a yellow card here. Phillips to Jones. They didn't hang around, but even then the South Africans were there in numbers. But this is strong. It's also just short again. Somebody needs to find a way over. Phillips, is that man going to be O'Driscoll? No, he's not. He's pulled back by Andries Becker.
Come back.
Martin Williams just come on. Paul O'Connell, the captain. Mike Phillips.
Come back, Green, 22.
Everybody's having a go, it seems, to try and drive over here. Phillips again, nearly an interception for Habana, and he would have gone.
Stay there.
And that would add insult to injury, really, but the Lions keep pressing with Rees and Phillips and Jones. Not many men here, but one of them is Roberts, and he counts for two. Jamie Roberts.
Leave it, Green!
Phillips, O'Driscoll, it's through at last! Croft again. Is there time?
Well, it's 2 tries for Tom Croft, but again, it's this centre partnership that's making it work. The star is born today, even if the Lions are going to lose. Jamie Roberts has been superb, and again, O'Driscoll is the one luring Springbok defenders into his web. Fabulous run from Roberts, and then this time the defence just breaks. O'Driscoll, simple enough for him. He draws the man. Croft, with that pace and that eye for the try, scores. And the Lions, well, they got 12 minutes to go.
It could be a try more about next week than this, but you never know.
Well, you know, we just said Brian Habana nearly went, and that would have been end of the game. You know, Lions get an interception from nowhere. Suddenly it's 26-21. South Africa have been the better team, but maybe because they were so far clear, they have taken their foot off the pedal and they've lost their momentum and allowed the Lions to come back into this game.
Steyn restarts. Ricky January is on for Fourie du Preez. Here come the Lions again. Heaslip, Phillips, Jones, Roberts. Well, it's brave if nothing else. O'Driscoll. After this goes Carney. He fells Francois Steyn. In goes O'Driscoll, had a go, but the fringe door was shut.
Ooh, well, there was a knock-on by Steyn first there.
I agree.
Quite clearly. And I don't understand how the near-touch judge, Vinnie Monroe, didn't see this. Watch now. There you go.
Yeah, I've got a scrum. Come on, let's go. Come on. Release, take back.
Just looking at Joanne Smith there as well. He's blowing a bit.
Crouch.
Now, this is where the lack of match practice comes in, the final 20 minutes. January, what a horrible ball to give that was to Stein, but again, the young man copes well. Here goes Monya. Can the Lions make it really interesting with another score?
Great take.
They're there in numbers again. It's back quickly to Phillips. It's Jones. It's O'Driscoll. Francois Stein. Lions need to push him out. O'Driscoll missed him. Stein is strong.
He's been a good player as he's used his weight really well at fullback.
Well, he's big in all areas, isn't he? Those strong legs just locked Mornay Stein. This is going to be Carnes. Phillips and Jones. And the Lions with O'Driscoll and O'Connell. And O'Callaghan now on. Here's Jones again to Martin Williams. O'Callaghan feeds to Matthew Rees. Another penalty.
Into the corner, 26-17. No, Phillips goes quickly.
Playing at pace, here's Jones to Croft, who's looking for a hat-trick, dare we say it. O'Connell. One more try here, and what a finish we've got. Williams. Stephen Jones to Brian O'Driscoll.
Hello.
Stay calm. Roberts. Carney. Monya. One to beat. Inside. Oh no!
That might just be it. Ugo Monya, you had to take that one. It's brilliant defence. It really is. That score would have brought the Lions back in. Mornay Stein has done very well, but South Africa are blowing. Wonderful play from Carney. Monya steps in. He's got to finish this one. He's inside Stein.
Great challenge, great tackle.
You've got to finish those.
You do have to finish those, but take nothing away from the defender who hit Manenball.
Yes, he did. He threw everything at it. There's no doubt, though. South Africa thought this game was won. They've taken off Bakkies Botha, Fourie du Preez, Ruan Pienaar, and the Lions have a sniff, and that try would have sent this place absolutely berserk.
What are you saying?
Still time.
No, I was talking to him, sorry.
Well, goodness knows what you're feeling back home.
Yeah.
The Lions fans don't know what to do with themselves here.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage. Don't leave him half.
Scrum's better. Everything's better.
Got the ball.
Turnover at the very least.
Look at Stephen Jones, he's going mad now. The Lions, they're believing, the crowd are believing. It's still something of a fairy story. It's an accidental knock on Spieth into his Blue Bulls mate Danny Rousseau. It's a position from which the Lions have to score, and if they do score, we have 7 minutes of mayhem, because South Africa have lost all their initiative, all of it.
And they're feeling the heat now. All those 12 years that came out in the opening exchanges when they burst onto the field. Well, it can work the other way if it starts to go against South Africa.
Well, they're desperate to get Ruan Pienaar back up. I think they closed the book on this chapter of the series too early, didn't they? And has just left the Lions a little bit of a chink.
Phillips needs to trust the backs here. He does. It's O'Driscoll and Jones. Go to Monya. Get it outside. Doesn't. There were two men waiting. Just couldn't work the ball to the right. Another advantage.
Too many penalties not to have a yellow card for Bryce Lawrence.
Where is the yellow card? But the Lions normally will be thinking about that. They're just thinking about the try here.
And there's no doubt at all now. Match, South Africa haven't played for a long time. The individuals just had that game against Namibia, which wasn't much more than a warm-up. They've had 25 minutes against the emerging box. But this team, though it hasn't played together for a month, has been playing intense rugby, and they are looking fitter. Pienaar's back.
And it's Eddie Jacobs, the man who's taken off. Stays. Both of them do. Francois and Mornay.
Steyn goes to full-back. Franz goes to inside centre. And that's not a bad idea, because Roberts and O'Driscoll are causing carnage in that area.
It's got to be now, though, for the Lions. They know that. He slipped. Here comes Roberts! Just held up. O'Callaghan.
Quick ball left.
You just wonder what the extra man would have done.
Come back.
But here's Phillips. Mike Phillips, there's the try!
South Africa have bullied the Lions for an hour, and they are now on their knees. They are literally on their knees, and the Lions, they have a great chance to win this. I'll repeat that, a great chance, because South Africa are just rocked now. They're playing rugby on the back foot.
Could it be an absolutely unforgettable Lions day? Jones with a conversion. We've got 5 points. We've got less than 5 minutes.
We have an unforgettable 5 minutes coming. Oh, from the ashes.
The Lions have got to keep playing.
Well, they will just keep the pace up now, Miles, the tempo up. They said if they can keep the ball in play, the longer they do it, they think South Africa will tire. It didn't look that way for a long time. Now they're against the clock as much as South Africa.
Mornay Steyn restarts. Again, it's gone to Tommy Bowe.
Great chase, Becker, one of the fresh men.
That was much more committed. Here's Jones. January drops it. The Lions will get a scrum from exactly that point.
Oh, Ricky January. The Lions love you. What a moment. Stephen Jones's kick was born out of the pressure that was being put on by a very well-organised South African defence. Ricky January's error is just so sloppy. Fourie du Preez's on that pitch. You don't think that error's made, and that man knows it.
The man who scored a dramatic late winning try against New Zealand in the Tri-Nations last year. Well, what has he done here?
Well, the thing is, Miles, when the Lions have had good ball, they have created holes. As Dion Carstens gets treatment, they created holes when the Springboks were fit and fresh in the first half, and when the Springboks dominated the set piece. Now they're tired and they're losing men.
Could have predicted this one. Yeah. South Africa want John Smith back.
Yeah.
Carstens is feeling his shoulder. Not the biggest shock.
John Smith regarded as one of the outstanding leaders of modern times, and don't they need him now? Only 3 minutes to go, but it's a big 3 minutes for the World Cup winning captains. Tenure on the tight head. They need their leader, you're right.
The Lions need to get this one in and out.
Get it to Roberts, get it to O'Driscoll. They're terrorising them. Dowie said it down on the touchline.
Roberts and O'Driscoll fidgeting in midfield, just waiting for this. There goes Roberts again! Oh, Tommy Bowe nearly. Had Tommy Bowe taken that, I think he had the step on the man. If all those chances and now all those tries for the Lions. Just one more. Bowe. O'Driscoll. What a season he's had. But he wants the Lions win at the end of it. It's a penalty, all offside, says the referee.
5 minutes more and they could have gone for the 3 points, win it with 2 penalties. But if the Lions are going to win this, it is going to be a glorious and a remarkable story. It's not coming from penalties. Stephen Jones into the corner, you send it. O'Driscoll down.
Indeed. Well, this will be worrying for the Lions. They need Brian O'Driscoll now. The medical staff with him. He chipped into space. He thought it was on, and it was almost there for him. And there you can see he goes, well, looks like he's gone straight out there.
Don't know whether he called a South African knee. Full-blooded challenge by both players, nothing untoward at all. I think it's Spieth, isn't it? Watch what happens now. It just catches him in the back, and then it's the whiplash almost on the neck. Oof. He's not going off now, Miles. He's not going off.
Phil Pask and Dr. James Robson, a thumb up from James Robson. That's all that O'Driscoll needed. Ronan O'Gara goes back to the bench. Stephen Jones must go for the corner. Everybody out of their seat here.
Oh, that's very conservative.
It's off the side of the boot.
But it's still close enough, because O'Driscoll's not a normal being, and Jamie Robert is just terrorising the men in green in the midfield.
Got to get the call right here, got to get the ball first.
Stolen.
It is stolen.
Knocked on.
Knock on, says Bryce Lawrence. The Lions still live.
We think the Springboks have taken from the Lions, and then they give it back. The scrum is now better than the line-out. The line-out's been a problem. Great pressure, you know, Martin Williams up there. It's stolen first of all, but then the knock-on.
One try, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? Here's Bowe. And you talk about commitment. It is oozing out of every pore of the Lions here. O'Connell, the South Africans look to the referee for help there. They don't get it. It's Rees. And we're almost in the final play here. Phillips to Jenkins.
Your big call now, Lions, your big call.
Phillips to Jones. O'Driscoll. Oh, taken Roberts. They're calling for support on that side, the defence. It's a South African penalty, and it's the Test match too. It's surely the Test match. And what a Test match it's been.
Well, even if the Lions lose now, it's been an unforgettable display of character. I think South Africa and Peter de Villiers will reassess the way they took off men like Smith and the Beast in 64 minutes and their half-backs. They gave the Lions a chance, but the Lions have taken it brilliantly. Maybe not quite enough, but there's one line out, one still, and they have a go. It's been a hugely brave effort. What a performance from Roberts and O'Driscoll in the centre. What a performance.
Greatness is made in moments like these. Remember Justin Harrison stealing from Martin Johnson in 2001. Can the Lions win this ball?
Well, he checks he hasn't heard the call to make sure the tannoy will go. The hooter goes, and it will be the last line out.
He is Bismarck du Plessis. He is Andries Becker, and he has won the ball and therefore the game. Off the field for the win for South Africa that they get, but only just. The world champions taken to the brink. Taken right to the brink. 26-21 in a classic Test match between these two that will never be forgotten, and what the Lions must remember thinking about next week is to keep on playing. They have the weapons. They really have the weapons. Surely it has some repercussions for next week now.
Well, at the very least, it gives them some morale going into it that at the hour mark it didn't look like they had, because South Africa were too strong for most of the game in the scrum and the line-out. They controlled the game via the boot, but what the Lions had were two incisive centres who were quite brilliant, but they also had character. When their backs were to the wall, they looked deep. They've talked about how they bonded off the field. The moment came and all that off-field bonding had to really register where it mattered, and it did. They didn't win the game, but their pride is restored. It's going to hurt because they're 1-0 down, but had this game finished 26-7 with South Africa in control, you would have dreaded Pretoria. The Lions can now go to the Highveld, can go to Loftus Versfeld and say, hey, we play at that pace of the last 20 for the first 60 and it's 1-1.
Stuart, can they turn the forward issue around? Can they do that in a week?
Well, yes, they can. I mean, the line-out we know is always going to be a problem, and that is not going to change. But, you know, it looks like Adam Jones is going to have to start. He's a smaller man. He's a harder target. It's almost Smith and Wallace again.
1-0, 2 to play. What a strong position, what a strong team South Africa are. But the Lions proved at the end they're strong too. Paul O'Connell, part of this pack. Key questions come from Graham.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Paul O'Connell. Heroic. Did you lose that, or did you just run out of time?
I think we ran out of time, but I think when the ref gives that many penalties against you as well, you don't really stand a chance, you know. It was just penalty after penalty after penalty against us, and no doubt some were our fault, but you know, it was just, it was a killer for us.
You were 19 points down after 60 minutes, Paul. You came within striking distance of actually winning it. What turned it around, do you think?
Oh, we were playing quite well. When we did what we wanted to do, we were getting over the gain line and we were opening them up a bit, and the more we did that, you know, the stronger we grew. You know, that was a very bad try to concede off the 2 mauls, and that hurt us badly. But the scores from the penalties killed us as well. I mean, geez, if a few of those tries had stuck, would have been game over and we would have won it, you know.
How encouraged are you? Same stupid question to ask when you just lost a game, but how encouraged are you? There's still 2 more games to go. You scored 3 tries to 2. You lost 3 balls over the line that could have been tries, and you were tearing them apart in the last 10-15 minutes. How encouraged are you for next week and the week after?
Yeah, very encouraged. We're playing a good brand of rugby. We played really well. I think, as I said, the penalties killed us. We cut out the penalties, and I think we would have won the game.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Well, what a game. They were dead and buried, the Lions. Character, though. De Villiers took off the stars, and the Lions almost made them pay. A loss, but encouragement, no doubt, for next week. They have to play with pace and width. The Lions were the ones who looked match fit towards the end, onto Loftus with some heart, but also with disappointment as well. Now, we are giving you a chance to win a trip to the second test as well. HSBC offering the chance VIP for 2 to Pretoria next weekend. Prize includes business class flights, match tickets, hospitality plus accommodation. Just log on to that website there, www.skysports.com/competitions for entry.
Boys, this is your chance to show what Lions rugby is all about. Are you ready for this?